Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time for even more spoilers from Bloomburrow, and I'm going to split off the craziness that they threw in on the bonus sheet. Yeah, it's going to be another one of those, get a good card off the bonus sheet and win the draft things. So, great. But for now, let's stick to the core stuff. We've got another mythic with Rotten Mouth Viper. Maybe he should try some Listerine. It's a 6/6 for 6 in black, creature elemental snake. And as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of non-land permanents. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrificed this way. Okay. And when it enters the battlefield, put a blight counter on it. Then for each blight counter on it, each opponent loses 4 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Ooh, ETB or attack. So ETB, it starts at 1, so it's always going to have 1. Then every time it attacks, it goes up. So 4 damage, 8 damage, 12 damage. This is like an old Scarab Curse card from Amonkhet. There's some older examples, but they are very annoying and very powerful. So yeah, this thing's kind of nuts. I mean, it costs 6, but you could nuke your whole battlefield, but then, boy, if they got 1 kill spell left. And based on the state of standard right now, they have 1 kill spell left, trust me. Still, one of the most powerful we've seen so far. Pretty nuts. Next up, we've got Stormbreaker. If it was translated correctly, it's a 1/4 for 4 in red. Creature Otter Wizard with haste. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a token copy of Stormbreaker. Exile those copies at the beginning of the next end step. But he doesn't have prowess, and he's a 1/4 for 4 in red. Hey, we found the Trash Red Mythic. So nice to see they returned to that tradition. I think the whole thing is Otter Tribal and ETB, but you got me. Next up, Jackdaw Savior. It's a 3 cost 3/1. Jeez. White Bird Cleric flying, and whenever it or another creature you control with flying dies, return another target creature card with lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh my gosh, as if birds needed this level of help. All the best birds are in the rare slot, so I mean, is it really draftable? Who knows, but if it is, you will win. Next up, Paw Patch Recruit. It's a 1 cost green 2/1 with Offspring 2. It's a Rabbit Warrior. So if you pay 2, you get a 1/1 copy of it. It has Trample, and whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control other than that creature. Okay, that's pretty powerful. Little defense mechanism, but if you're running rabbits, the only thing that's really going to stop you is not, point targeting, point kill, pin down, exile. It's going to be board wipes. So this doesn't really help that, but, for one, it's a darn good card. And then you get pretty much 2 triggers. Let's be honest, you're going to pay 3 for this. Next up, Lunar Convocation. Ooh. It's a 1 black, 1 white enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. Okay. So unlimited life gain, just 1 ping away the way it should be, unlike, what is it? Not Sanguine Bond. Is that what it is? I don't remember. But then there's, at the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying, and then if you, oh gosh, pay 1 generic plus 1 black, pay 2 life, draw a card. This is pretty powerful even without synergy. You add in the synergy, it's even better. So that is a really good card, but it is 2 colors, which narrows your ability to play it, at least in limited. Next up, we've got Valley Might Collar. It's a 1 cost green 1/1 Frog Warrior with Trample, and whenever another frog, rabbit, raccoon, or squirrel you control enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on Valley Mist Collar. So basically, and I'm playing green in the Bloomburrow set card. Pretty good synergy. Okay. Next up, we got Kitza Otterball Elite. I'm pretty sure something just like this was in a Final Fantasy game. So it's a 2 cost 1/3 with Vigilance in blue. It has prowess because of course it does. Tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay. Then if you pay 2 and tap it, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. Jeez. You may choose new targets for the copy. Activate only if its power is 3 or greater. Oh. Okay. That would have been pretty broken without that last sentence there. So you already got 2. Like basically when you cast your second one, he'd already be +2, sparing any other effects. So then you just copy every spell. I mean, a counterspell would be pointless. Scry or draw would be nice. And then some kind of bounce or something? Okay, but mass bounce is a thing. I don't know, like he's solid. Next up, Fabled Passage is out of nowhere. Okay, a pretty expensive land there. And it's Evolving Wilds, except if you control 4 or more lands, then you untap whatever basic land you went to go find. It also can only search for basic lands, not like a mountain. Because a mountain could be all kinds of different things. Next up, Sword of Vengeance for some reason. It's 3 drop. Oh boy. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has first strike, vigilance, trample, and haste, and then equip 3. Yeah, in this set. Well, this may shock you, but if you see this, draft it. Next up, Mind Spring. It's 2 blue plus X, draw X cards. Okay, that's solid. You pay 1, you're below divination. You pay 2, you're above the divination. Well, I call it the divination rule. 1.5 mana per card is like the baseline for the average draw spell. Oh, so actually 2 cards for 4 would not put you above that ratio. Huh, math ain't that hard. But 3 for 5 would, though. And 16 cards for 18, you know, just saying. You could also clone this if you remember the otter. Next up, we've got Colossification with the greatest artwork ever put on it. So giant, let's be honest, Ikoria Kite with Ikoria crystals, but sure. And it's not a special gift card, but okay. Pay 7. Enchant creature, when Colossification enters, tap enchanted creature, and enchanted creature gets +20/+20. You're giving your opponent a lot of warning, and that's a lot of investment. It's actually not that good of a card, but if you can pull it off, you'll just win. Next up, Sarah Redeemer. Once again, not technically in the special gifts. Okay. I double-checked. Special gift is a pentagon with like a little star in it, and the commander one is, I don't know, some weird-looking flower. So Sarah Redeemer is here. She's canon. I didn't read it, but like, really? So 5 cost double white, Angel Soldier with flying 2/4, and whenever another creature you control with power 2 or less enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 counters on that creature. Moving on from the 1 human in this plane, we've got Dour Portmage. It's a 2 cost blue 1/3 frog wizard, and whenever 1 or more other creatures you control leave the battlefield without dying, draw a card. So in other words, frogs do hoppy frog stuff. And if you pay 2 and tap them, return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. The frogs are going to be the most do-nothing tribal in the whole set, because they don't just flicker, they tend to like make you pay for the card again. And all the synergies in the rare slot. It's basically unplayable. Next up, we've got... Oh, I didn't get a translation for this. 1 second. Thanks, Watsy. Appreciate it. Apparently, it's Coiling Rebirth. It's a 2 black, 5 total cost sorcery. It is a rare. It has gift a card. You know what that does. And return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So standard 5 cost Resurrector, except if the gift was promised, then that creature is not legendary. Okay. Create a 1/1 token copy of that creature. Ooh, 2 for 1 special if you give them a card. Better hope that card's not a board wipe or kill spell. I think it would be worth it. Next up, Keen-Eyed Curator. It's a raccoon hoarder, apparently, but also scout. 2 cost, double green 3/3. Okay. And as long as there are 4 more card types among cards exiled with Keen-Eyed Curator, it gets +4/+4 and has trample. And if you pay 1, you can exile target card from a graveyard, and you can just do that all you want. So it'd be pretty easy to get him up to 4/4, and he's already 3/3. This is pretty darn powerful. Next up, Eluge the Shoreless Sea. So 4 cost triple blue mythic legendary creature elemental fish. This is getting a little nuts out of nowhere. Okay, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of islands you control. Okay, and when it enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island, oh geez, in addition to its other types, for as long as that has a flood counter on it. So it doesn't lose its other types. But the first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 1 less, 1 blue less, or 1 generic less, either one, to cast for each land you control with a flood counter on it. Oh boy, it'd be hard to get this off the ground if it comes in at like a 2/2, but I would play this in mono blue all day. But mono blue in this set is kind of ass. Wow, you get the bad birds and half the frogs. Wow. Just a standalone card, trying to sell it outside the format. Nothing to see here. Let's move on to Portent of Calamity. It's 1 blue plus X, sorcery. Reveal the top X cards from your library. For each card type, you may exile a card of that type from among them. Put the rest in your graveyard. You may cast a spell from among the exiled cards without paying its mana cost if you exiled 4 or more cards this way. Okay, not card types, just 4 more cards, period. Then put the rest of the exiled cards in your hand. Okay, so you just draw a bunch, and then you get to free cast one of them if X was 4 or greater. Okay, I mean, that'd be 5. Like, that's fair-ish for a free cast. I mean, it's kind of up there a little bit. This is a story spotlight card, and they tend to crank up the power historically, and this set is no exception. So, kind of neat. I think this will sell outside the format. Okay, I'm going to check. Oh, they don't have it posted for pre-sale. Okay, fine, keep your secrets. Next up, we got Fecund Green Shell. It's a 5-cost, double green, 4/6 elemental turtle with reach, and as long as you control 10 or more lands, creatures you control get +2/+2. Also, you probably win the game. And when it or another creature you control with toughness greater than its power enters the battlefield, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped, otherwise put it in your hand. And they do have very limited landfall in this set, actually. This doesn't seem like massively effective, but it's just a bigger creature for a reasonable, kind of high-ish cost for the set. I think it was meant to be the big bad green without just absolutely destroying like Mouse Tribal or whatever, so sure. Next up we got Fountain Port. It's a rare land. It comes in untapped, you can tap it for colorless, but then you can pay 2, sack a token and draw a card. And if you pay 3, tap it and pay 1 life, create a 1/1 blue fish creature token. Gotta love them fish. And 4 and tap it, create a treasure token. Okay, if you had nothing better to do with your mana, there's a lot of trade-off, for sure. Fits into this set. Next up, Festival of Embers. It's a 5-cost rare red enchantment. During your turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from your graveyard by paying 1 life in addition to their other costs. Oh. If a card or token will be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. And then if you pay 2, sacrifice Festival of Embers. Why would you want to do that? That last one seems odd. I don't know what's going on there, but they managed to do something creative in red that doesn't involve rushing, so good for them. But next up, we've got Gav Scaled Scorch. It's a 1 black, 1 red, 3/2 legendary creature lizard mercenary. Ward, pay 2 life, so it's going to be a little annoying to remove, and other creatures you control enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on them for each opponent who lost life this turn. Then whenever you cast a lizard spell, this card deals 1 damage to target opponent. I don't know how supported Lizard Tribal is. It must not be very memorable, and then he's legendary, so as good as this sounds, I don't think it's going to be easy to get off the ground. And that is actually it for today, so watch for even more coming up. I'm hoping later today to cover the absolute madness that is the special guest sheet. It is going to ruin drafts, so hey, watch out for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.